Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we got the Windhorse Mini V8 moped style electric bike. This one is for ages 14 and up. It does come with a 750 watt geared hub drive motor in the rear. You do get a 48 volt, 15.6 amp hour battery up here in the front. They do say this can give you up to 50 miles of range. That range is going to depend on rider weight, speed, and conditions of the ride. This one also does come with the 16 by 4 inch fat tires. This one is a full suspension bike. You do get the dual crown fork set up in the front. There are no adjustments on these front stanchions. You do have these spring and shock absorbers in the rear on both sides. It does come with a nice large display, and you do get all the lights on this one: headlights, turn signals, tail lights, and a flashing brake light. This bike does have a twist throttle, and it does have a top speed of 20 miles per hour. Something very unique and cool to this bike that people are going to like is it does have a Bluetooth speaker tucked up under the seat here. If you press this button over here, the bike can make motorcycle sounds. Sounds like an idling motorcycle, and then you can rev it up. Pretty cool, huh? In addition to those motorcycle sounds, you can connect your cell phone to that speaker, and you can play music through the speaker. It actually has pretty good volume. I did connect my phone to the Bluetooth speaker. Let me play some music for you, and I'll show you how it sounds. So that's pretty cool. You can actually just ride around and listen to whatever music you want. It's actually a pretty loud speaker, and I think you will be able to hear that while you're riding. And of course, if you don't want the music, you got your motorcycle sounds. Let's talk about the size of the bike. They do say this one can fit riders from 5'3" up to 6'2". I am 6 foot tall with 32 inch inseams. Let me show you how I fit on the bike. The seat height is 29.5 inches. Real easy to step over. While it is a small bike, it doesn't seem like super tiny or anything like that. I do have about 2 inches of space below me when I'm standing here. Let's sit down. This is a full suspension bike. I can feel that rear suspension working. Actually feels pretty soft, guys, and the seat feels pretty good. Overall, at 6 foot tall, I don't think I'm gonna have any trouble at all riding this bike. I might have a little bit of trouble pedaling the bike because your knees do come up pretty high. But this kind of bike, I don't really pedal that much. I pretty much just use the throttle for the most part. Sometimes I use the pedal just to get started on some of the hills. So for taller riders, this might not be a great bike to pedal on, but you can definitely still ride the bike. Let me give you a closer look at the bike. We'll take a look at the lights, and then we'll take this thing for a ride. There's your 16 by 4 inch Chaoyang tires with the knobby tread pattern. You do get plastic fenders on this one. It does have a rounded headlight. Let me turn that on. Has the halo ring around it with the beam in the center. Here's your 160 millimeter mechanical disc brakes. The front brake is over here on the left side. Here's your front fork suspension. There are no adjustments on this front fork. You can see about how much travel I've been getting out of it, about 1.5 inches. There's a look at the frame. You do get these 2 shock springs in the rear. Here's a look at the long bench seat. It is nice and wide, guys, and it does have a pretty thick padding on it. Feels pretty comfortable. Here's a look at your tail light, your turn signals, and your flashing brake light. You get the same 160 millimeter brakes in the rear, and there's your kickstand. Here's your crank set. It does have the single-sided chain guard, some medium length crank arms, some plastic pedals. Back in the rear, you get your 7 mechanical gears and your Shimano derailleur. It does have the bash guard installed. There's the Bluetooth speaker that makes the sounds. It is tucked up under the seat. Here's your 48 volt, 15.6 amp hour battery. It does say Windhorse down the side. This one does have a switch to turn it on and off. This is the charging port. It does take the 5mm style charger. And it does have a power level indicator right on top. Press and hold that. It lights up. Over on the left side, you get your mechanical brake levers, adjustable cables. This is your headlight switch, turn signals, and your horn. We'll try the horn in a second. Let's power the bike up. Press and hold the M. Screen comes on. I did hear a beep because the Bluetooth did connect. It's showing the Bluetooth up there at the top. There's your battery life, large mile per hour reading, your pedal assist level, and your odometer. This is how you go up and down on the pedal assist level, plus and minus. This one does have 3 levels of pedal assist. Let's try that horn out. Pretty loud horn. I do like the styling of the handlebars on this one, and it does have about 6 inches of rise here. It is pretty cool. Here's your half twist throttle and your mechanical gear shifter. All right. Let's take the Mini V8 out for a ride. Let's put the power assist on 0. Let's see if we can pedal this bike with no power. We are in gear 4. Might be a little high. Actually, not too bad. So I'm not going to be a big pedaler on this bike because this is a little mini bike and I am 6 foot tall. But to tell you the truth, this don't feel half bad. I'm in gear 4, can pedal this thing 5-6 miles an hour here. Actually, no problem at all. All right, let's put the power on level 1. This is a cadence sensor. I'm going to spin my legs. We'll see how fast this power comes on. Came on instantly. Let me try it again. Start spinning my legs. That power comes on quick. No delay on this one, guys. That's nice. All right, pedal assist level 1 is giving us 9 miles an hour. I already did unlock the bike, so the speeds might be slightly different when the bike is locked. A lot of times the speeds are a little bit slower, then you unlock the bike and it levels up each one of the speeds. So unlocked, it's giving us 9 miles per hour, pedal assist 1. I will describe to you how to do that unlock procedure. Was a little bit tricky on this one, but we'll go through it here in a minute. Let's try level 2. Gonna have to start gearing up. All right, level 2, 15 miles an hour. We're already in gear 7. And as you can see my knees, it's already a bit of a fast cadence here. You can keep up pedaling here though. Probably not gonna wanna pedal much faster than 15 on this one though. The bike is set up with 3 levels of pedal assist. So we're gonna go over here and do the hill climb first. And then when we get up to the top of the hill, we will go for the top speed run. I do have the GPS on in my pocket. The GPS and the onboard speedometer are dead on. 15 and 15, so that's looking good. All right, let's put the bike on level 3. That is the highest speed on this bike. We're gonna go for the hill climb here. Let's see what we can do. Throttle only. Pretty torquey off the line, good acceleration. This is a 750 watt bike. Dropping down. Only dropped down to about 15.5 miles an hour, guys. That's actually a pretty good speed up the hill for a 750 bike. A lot of the 750 bikes drop down to about 13. This one maintained 15.5. I think it is, this bike is just a little bit lighter weight since this is the V8 Mini. So that power is gonna go a little bit farther. And that was the hill climbing performance with a 215-pound rider on it, but it did really well with me on it. All right, guys, we're up here on top of the hill, flat spot. Let's do an acceleration run, and we will go for the top speed. 5, 10, 15, 20. 25. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a tuck here. All right, let's see what the GPS was showing us for our top speed. All right, the GPS is showing that we hit 28 miles per hour, GPS verified. A lot of bikes don't make the speed that they claim they can do, but this one just did it. And that was with a 215-pound rider on it. It's gonna do it easily with lighter riders. The other thing is the speedometer is dead on accurate. It showed 28 on board and it showed 28 on the GPS. Brake pads on here are a little bit noisy, guys. They do have a little bit of a squeak to them, but that's a real easy fix. Those organic or semi-metallic brake pads are super cheap. They're like $12. I'll even put a link to them in the description of the video. And they will take away any squeaking this bike is doing. The bikes usually squeak when they use a full metallic brake disc, but the semi-metallics, they don't pull quite as hard, but they don't make any noise. They're real easy to change also. It takes probably about 30 minutes for both wheels. All right, let's get up to about 20 miles an hour here. We'll pull these mechanical disc brakes. I pulled the brakes at the end of the pavement there. It took me a little bit more than 20 feet, maybe about 25 feet to stop from 20 miles an hour. The bike does have mechanical disc brakes with 160 millimeter rotors on them. They definitely do not feel like hydraulic brakes, but they do just fine for this lightweight bike. Let me give them one more pull from about 15 here, 16. The brakes are more than sufficient for this bike. That's an easy upgrade that you can do for pretty cheap. Let's go do a little bit of light off-roading here. This is a full suspension bike. Got the soccer game. Felt pretty torquey off-road there already. Let me run it down here. Yeah, guys, this has plenty of torque for this. Not a struggle at all. We'll go take it down the trail over here, fill out this suspension a little bit. A little bit bouncy, definitely better than a bike with no suspension though. Let's hit the big bumps here. Not too bad. Between the suspension and the cushy seat, it definitely feels fine. It definitely feels much better than a hardtail bike. You'll be able to get out and have quite a bit of fun on this little thing. I do love the small size of it. You get just a little bit of rebound knock off that front fork. You can hear that. It's not horrible though. Let's race across the dam here. We'll see if there's somewhere we can cross the creek that doesn't have as much water. We got a bunch of rain recently, so this creek's been wetter than usual. I can see the grass growing in there tall. This thing is pulling us up this hill nice though, guys. Pretty strong. I see the golf cart's been crossing here, but it's real muddy. Let's hit the grass and get through here. All right, well, we hit the mud either way, so. But we got to cross. This little section of the trail that I ride is going to get tougher and tougher as summer goes on. This grass is going to keep getting taller. There is a little bit of harshness in the rear suspension, so you don't want to hit the bumps too hard. It can handle the bumps, just don't hit them super hard. All right, this is the power of the bike pulling us up the hill here. Uphill, tall grass, wet grass. It's bringing us up. This is putting a big strain on the bike, on the controller right here, but it's getting the job done. All right, guys, it brought us up the hill. You can definitely get off the road and do a little bit of trail riding on this bike. This certainly is a cool looking little mini moped. I'm actually surprised how much torque it does have, guys. It didn't get us up the hill from a dig. It looks like it needs just a little bit of roll on to get those gears moving, but once this thing is rolling, it's a pretty dang torquey bike. I do think some kids might be able to do a wheelie on this bike because it does pick up that tire pretty readily. You can do a little bit of a power wheelie. So yeah, I think some kids might actually be able to wheelie this bike. I do believe so. Let's roll. So the bike does have a claimed range of up to 50 miles. That's going to be using pedal assist on the lower levels and putting in some of your own pedaling, guys. And that's going to be with the bike locked to 20 miles an hour for sure. Once I unlock the bike, you're using a whole bunch more power, and you're not going to get 50 miles of range out of this bike riding it the way that I'm riding it today, doing all this off-roading and stuff like that. So it does have a decent sized battery, 15.6 amp hours, 48 volts. You should get some decent range out of that, somewhere north of 20 miles, depending on how you ride. Let me go through here and show you guys how to unlock the bike. I'm not going to actually do the procedure because the bike is already unlocked. I don't want to lock it back. But on this one, you're going to twist the throttle, pull the brake lever in, press and hold that M button. Some people online said press and hold it for 10 seconds, but I tried that a couple times, it did not work. And then I tried to hold it for 15 seconds. When I pressed and held it for 15 seconds, it powered up and I kept holding it. I did a full 15 seconds and I released, and then the bike was unlocked. So try it a few times, that will work for you. So we're still sitting at 3 battery bars. Let's go put some miles on it. Don't forget we got our motorcycle sounds. That's pretty funny, guys. People are going to be wondering, where in the world is that coming from? Not too bad over the speed bumps. The suspension's not super soft, guys. It's kind of a mid-level, a little bit firmer suspension. But it's nice, the bike does have cruise control. Cruise can be activated or deactivated through the P7 settings. Change it from a 1 to a 0 if you don't want cruise control. But it does take a while to come on anyhow, so you might as well just leave it on. Cancel that cruise, you can twist the throttle or pull the brake. Let's twist the throttle. See, I could definitely get used to this though, having a bike that you could ride around that has a Bluetooth speaker right on it. That's really cool. Let's see if we can do no hand. Some of these smaller bikes are tough. Yeah, can't really no hand the bike very comfortably. It does want to lean over just a little bit, but be careful. See there, pedal assist level 3, I got the cruise set at 10 miles an hour. So even if you're riding around on top gear, you can set the cruise at a lower speed. So that is pretty nice. All right, guys, I'm gonna run out some miles on the bike, and then I will be back to give you my final thoughts on the Windhorse Mini V8. All right, guys, roll back into my area on the Windhorse Mini V8. Let me show you what I did for range on this ride. I have put 16 miles on the bike on this ride. It is sitting on the last battery bar. That second to last battery bar just dropped off about a half a mile ago. So it's looking like you will be able to get about 20 miles of range riding this bike at full speed. I do fully believe if you ride the bike on pedal assist 1 or 2, you're gonna get much more range out of the bike than I got today. I was riding this thing on pedal assist 3 the whole time, and I do have the bike unlocked. I do think this bike could easily get over 30 miles of range on pedal assist 1, especially if you are using those pedals a little bit. But on this ride today, doing all the testing, high-speed riding, off-roading, pedal assist 3, the whole ride, I did get 16 miles of range and I got 1 battery bar left. Let me give you my top 3 or 4 things about the bike. First of all, it's a good-looking bike. Second of all, it was a comfortable ride with that long bench seat. Third of all, it did hit the top speed of 28 miles per hour, GPS verified. And fourth of all, it had more power and torque overall than I even expected for this bike. I did not think it was going to pull quite as hard as it did. It did really well on the hill climb, gave us 15.5 miles up the hill, which is a couple miles an hour faster than most 750 bikes make it up that hill. It did really well off-road, you guys saw that. Overall, I think it's a cool little bike. I think people are going to love this thing. I do like the speaker on the back. You could play some music while you're riding. That's pretty cool. The only real downside to this bike that I could find is the brakes are a little bit noisy, a little bit squeaky, but that's a real easy fix. I will put the link for some quiet brake pads in the description below the video. All right, guys, if the Windhorse Mini V8 is the bike for you, I will put the link for this one in the description below the video. Please hit like and subscribe to the channel for more e-bike and scooter content like this. I really do appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you in the next one.